Welcome back and thanks. Let's dig in now. And this evening, the Electricity Company of Ghana is on an all-out war against defaulters and illegal consumers of electricity. And it's been 72 hours since they embarked on that national revenue mobilization exercise. Already, some 72 million cedis out of the 5.7 billion target has already been realized. They've been on an exercise in Tema today in the Greater Accra region. I'll give you details of that. But the ECG Managing Director has been interacting with my colleague Evans Mensah on PM Express, and for him, they are looking for up to 25 years imprisonment for illegal defaulters and consumers. You can listen to him.
In Ivory Coast, illegal connections is a criminal offense.
Yeah, I thought it is in Ghana as well.
It's not a criminal offense in Ghana.
It is?
It's
to steal power?
No, they call it a bypass. In Ghana,
power theft is not a crime.
No, so now we are making it a crime.
How?
Because it's stealing.
Yeah, but if it's not a crime by law, unless you are amending legally, the law.
I'm not amending the law, but I'm charging you with stealing. What is stealing?
Yeah, but
let's not turn this into a law class. But what is stealing?
Stealing is a crime.
Yeah. So when you took the power, did you have any intentions of bringing the power back?
Of course not.
Aha. So
my point is that I'm just following on from the point that it is not a crime in Ghana. It has been all along. It's about how you interpreted the law.
Yeah,
now you are interpreting.
But the thing is, the law also says for whatever is a crime, the requisite punishment should be attached.
But once you say theft, then it's a crime, which with the prescribed.
But the prescribed plan for the punishment for the power bypass is a slap on the wrist. So
pay a fine.
Yeah, some penalties. But now, with the Chief Justice helping us with the utility court, which will be sitting on Saturdays.
Has it started?
Yeah, we are piling up the dockets now.
Okay.
This exercise, so what we just decided to do was to forgive and start afresh.
Okay.
You understand? Because you don't want stories, this happened, that happened. So we're forgiving. This exercise will build the docket to go forward.
So the next 1 month, what you started in the last 24 hours, you're building dockets on those who have stolen power. Yeah. And I'm using that because you said that's what we should be using now.
We'll be charging you stealing. No. Why should we use bypass? When you bypassed it, where did the thing go? When you bypass something, you should have been collecting it somewhere to return it. Not so. But the person has stolen. You have consumed it with no intentions of paying back. You've stolen.
And this will go to the AG.
Yes,
and then that
there's a station prosecutor at ECG. Do you know that?
Since when?
Yeah. Since time immemorial.
I see.
ECG has a prosecutor.
And people have been getting away with this step.
I said ECG has a prosecutor. See,
has he even ever prosecuted one case?
Yes, he has. There are a few of them. It's just that some of them do not come into the public. Yes, he's a seasoned state attorney. He was with Attorney General's department and then he came here. He's a seasoned a very good lawyer at that.
I see.
But now is the point where you have to resource the person to bite. So that's where we've gotten to as a company, because we've realized that everybody has decided to take us for a run.
In other words, in the next one, we are gathering evidence to prosecute people in the, what do you call the court?
The utility court.
The utility court.
Yeah, Ghana Water also has access to that utility court. So it's for the utilities.
But you are elevating this to theft.
Is it not?
And my question is, that is a crime that you can go to jail for.
Of course.
For a long time.
Yes.
And you want to put people in jail for stealing power.
So you don't want me to?
No, it's a question.
Oh, if you tell me I shouldn't, I'll tell the good people of Ghana. I just said.
No, I mean I'm just questioning that. I mean I'm asking
questioning
a question.
What, the morality behind it?
Not the morality. That's the Attorney General agree with you that we should elevate.
Does he have to agree with you?
No, it's about whether he agrees with your interpretation. I agree with you that when you steal power, right?
You turn this into a law class.
No, I'm just asking a question.
You know, sometimes punishment is to deter.
True.
So whoever the judge is would decide whether the full powers or full punishment of stealing should be visited on you for stealing power, or whether they'll slap you with a huge fine.
So I get what you're saying.
But you see, within that whole period too, you can absolve yourself if you come and pay.
You just want the money.
I'm not saying that. Before people start thinking that, when I pay, look, we need to take things seriously in this country.
Okay.
One of our biggest problems is enforcement. We do not enforce things, so it just becomes a slap on the wrist. Oh, don't do that again. Oh, next week. Oh, next time. You understand? But now we are getting to a point where the way things are going, we need to sit up. We need to show a different trend to the next generation. It's about what we are leaving behind. If we do not do the right thing and we kill the energy sector, what would the next generation do? The energy sector is in debt, about 1.something billion. No?
Yes.
$500 million is here.
That's true. So I hear you say, when you go to utilities court, ECG is going to be demanding the full penalty for stealing, for those who you found, those whose evidence you've gathered in the next 1 month.
Yeah.
Okay. That part of this hasn't elevated to the surface in terms of the conversations since yesterday.
Yeah.
We only heard your revenue collected.
Yeah.
But you were saying, as part of this exercise,
yes,
it's actually an exercise in collecting evidence in the docket for prosecution.
Yes. Because right now, the thing is this. You've consumed. Why are you not paying? Why have you bypassed the meter? Why have you tampered with the meter? You know, let's be fair. We put so much responsibility on state institutions and government for that matter. We are demanding from them every single minute we have the opportunity. But now let's ask ourselves as citizens, when it's time for us to do what we have to do we do it? Just a few can hit their chest and say, oh, I do this diligently, I do that diligently.
Samuel Debeki Mahama is the managing director of the electricity company of Ghana. Already a number of institutions and companies have been taking off the grid, including the Cape Coast Stadium. But let's stay on the criminal prosecutions, intended criminal prosecutions to be undertaken by the ECG. We can hear from Augustine Obo. He's a former state prosecutor and a law lecturer. He's been explaining that to my colleague Evans Mensah on Top Story.
Well, you can always charge, that is not for the court. You can always charge. Charging somebody for stealing is very easy, but the difficulty lies with proving the guilt of the person. What is missing? How much? How did the person steal it? Is it something that your staff contributed? What happened? There are a lot. Charging is very easy. It's only one part of it. Very easy. Just drop the charge sheet. Somebody is an accused person. What is missing comes back to you. You must prove that. So they can. As for charging, they can. You can always charge somebody. You can always charge somebody. You can always accuse somebody. But even the state attorneys are telling you that they have difficulty prosecuting a lot of the cases. Then that tells you that it is not easy. If you have to charge somebody for criminal offense, you must go through processes and you must prove the guilt of the person charged beyond reasonable doubt. Normally, electricity matters, I wonder how they will prove it. Illegal connection. They don't have any means to ascertain what is missing. And sometimes I wonder how people could do it. Sometimes they themselves, their own workers come out to do it. Sometimes I was in my house when somebody came to give me a meter. Electricity bill. And looked at my face and told me that I can do something about the bill for you. I said, thank you, go, but the next person will cause you arrest. So if it is done by the workers, they themselves will know that it will be very difficult to prove that offense against the person because it has not been done by the accused person. It has been done by ECG staff. So the person can argue that I'm not aware that it is not passing through a meter. Where will you get that person? If now that we have energy commissioners in between the line, to prove that the electrification work has been done properly. So if the meter is not reading properly, it might be your fault. But they have to prove it. Some they may win, some they may find it difficult. That's the point that they are likely to face. They can charge, but charging is not enough. You have to prove the guilt of the person charged beyond reasonable doubt.
Augusta Noble, on the success or otherwise of the intended criminal prosecutions. Well, it's day 3 of that national revenue mobilization exercise embarked on by the ECG. They were in Tema today, and 2 main companies, Fabri Metal and Steel Star Limited, owing combined up to 46 million cedis, were taken off the grid. My colleague James Aveji was with the task force and has come through with this report.
So today is day 3 of the 30 days marathon of the Electricity Company of Ghana to collect or recover some 5.7 billion cedis of bills owed by their customers, including state-owned agencies, private manufacturing companies, as well as domestic users. Now, the team started their day by visiting the B5 Plus Steel Manufacturing Company in Tema, where they have been to on Tuesday. Now, they had to go back to B5 because the company nearly swayed them on Tuesday when they provided them a very much post-dated check. The ECG says they got to realize about the status of the check when they went to their office to actually process it. And so they had to come back with the intention to take the B5 steel manufacturing company off the grid. But managers of the company decided to go into a protracted meeting with the ECG officials, lasting about 45 minutes to an hour, and they finally agreed on a consensus. Laila Abubakari is external communications manager for the ECG, and she's been sharing with us what came out of that meeting.
We've just reached a conclusion with them this morning. On our way to disconnect their facilities. We made 50% payments now, and then the rest of the money will be paid next week.
You were here yesterday. Why did you have to come back today?
Because they generated invoices for them. They showed checks that they were going to pay yesterday. They generated the invoices, and then they hoped that they were going to pay the money into the account. But we realized later on that the checks were post-dated, I think 1 week apart. And so it means that most of them were going to check after the end of March, which was not acceptable. So we returned today in order to get all the 50% that had been promised us yesterday.
From Tema, the team moved to around Chopoli at the Fabri Metals Manufacturing Company, where we have been told that the company is owing 28 million Ghana cedis. The team was met with some level of resistance from officials of the Fabri Metals Manufacturing Company. That kept for about 10 minutes, and they went into another meeting which lasted a few minutes with an outcome.
They showed us a slip where they were paying an average of 3 million cedis a month. In some months, 1 million, 4 million, 2 million. I think in January and February, they paid 4 million each, but their average bill is about 6.5 million a month. And so I requested that at least 50% of the money be given to us now so that we can negotiate on the rest of the money they owe. But they said they are not able to cough out such an amount to us now. And so we had no option but to take them off. And so the task force went behind the ECG system and took them off, read the meter, and have taken record of how much the meter reading for today. So by the next connection, that is if they make the payment, we'll compare the reading we did today to the day we connect to make sure that they haven't reconnected themselves to the grid.
How many months does this 28 million cover?
It's about 5 months by our calculation. They pay an average of, or they usually consume an average of 6.5 million Ghana cedis, and it's in total 28 million Ghana cedis. And so you'd say an average of probably 6 months.
A second company which was taken off the grid today by the ECG is Star Steel Company Limited in Pram Pram. Now they owe the ECG some 18 million Ghana cedis, which they fail to make any form of payment for when the team went into their premises. So there's 2 companies which have been taken off the grid today, Fabric Metal as well as Star Steel Company, together owe the ECG some 46 million Ghana cedis. The team resumes to continue with the operation in the effort to recover some 5.7 billion Ghana cedis owed them. Reporting for Joy News, my name is James Kwesi Aveji.
From Tema, let me take you up north, where some residents there are accusing the Northern Electricity Development Company, that's NEDCO, of deliberately installing 40 meters. They claim that these meters consume faster than usual. We know that NEDCO is on the drive to replace some meters in the area, and this has been resisted by some residents. Today, NEDCO had to deploy police and military presence to foil an attempt by some residents to demonstrate against the acts of NEDCO. Well, let me bring in Maxwell Kotoka. He's head of communications at NEDCO, joins us live via Zoom with updates on what exactly the situation is. We are grateful for your time here on JoyNews Prime, Mr. Kotoka. So we've been hearing from some residents all day today complaining about this mass replacement exercise embarked by your company. Tell us more exactly about it. What really is the situation when it comes to these meters? Hello, Mr. Kotoka. You have to unmute so we can hear you, Mr. Kotoka. We'll try again. Mr. Kotoka, if you can hear me, I'm asking about the exercise that you've embarked on in the northern region as part of replacement of meters. Okay, it appears that Mr. Kotoka is unable to hear, but we've been speaking to some residents about this situation. They've been making known what their concerns are to us, but my colleague Martina Bugri has also been following up on that. Okay, so it appears we have Mr. Kotoka. You can hear me now, Mr. Kotoka?
Yes, I can. I can hear you now.
That's great. So I was asking earlier about this meter replacement exercise and the claims by residents that you are deliberately installing this 40 meters just to rip them off. They say that these meters run faster than usual. Has that been brought to your attention, and what exactly is your explanation to what is happening?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Good evening to you. Good evening to your viewers. Indeed, that has come to our attention, except to say that it is not entirely accurate that
You didn't complete that, Mr. Kotoka? Okay, it appears that the network is just failing us at this point, but we'll try again because we're interested in knowing what exactly the situation is, for which reason residents wanted to mass up at NEDCO offices earlier today, raising concerns about these 40 meters that run faster than usual. So we'll hear from NEDCO shortly with more details on this because